Being an introvert can be a curse and a blessing in disguise. Me growing up, I've always been more on the introverted side, and I would say that it can be a curse, meaning that it makes it harder to make connections with certain people. Sometimes you really don't put yourself out there like that. But on the other hand, it can be a blessing, meaning that it keeps you out of trouble because you're more reserved to yourself. It allows you to think and be more introspective. There are two coins to the side, but one negative I definitely noticed in my own life was the dating aspect of things. Being an introvert can actually have a big impact on your dating life simply because you're not used to engaging in social interactions, you're not used to getting out there, etc. And so we all know in order to meet more women, you gotta put yourself out there, you gotta talk, and I feel like the extrovert counterparts have it real easy, right? Whenever I see a guy who's good with women and they're an extrovert, they love talking, they love being out on the scene, etc., I'm like, of course it makes sense, but at the end of the day, what about us introverts? How do us introverts actually attract more women? Well guys, I have the video for you today because I've actually been through this in my own personal life. Like I said, I'm an introvert too, so follow all these tips and I promise you, as an introvert, you will see a lot more dating success. Subscribe, like, let's go ahead and get right into it. So first we have to define an introvert. A lot of guys and people overall get it wrong. An introvert isn't necessarily somebody who's shy, who has social anxiety, though those can be the cases. An introvert is simply somebody who their energy is almost drained through social interactions and they tend to like being by themselves more, or at least with a small group of people, and or people that they're very comfortable around. So it's hard to classify whether or not you're on the extrovert side or introvert side. Most people usually fall somewhere in the middle depending on who they're around. But if I had to pick one side, I would say that I'm sort of more on the introvert side. So meaning I go out and like the social interaction, meeting people, yeah, it's cool. But at the end of the day, sometimes I just want to be by myself and it drains my social battery. That's what we got to look at it as, all right? Not somebody who's shy, not somebody who's anxious, just somebody who social battery gets drained if they're around too many people, especially for a very long time. Now with me personally, whenever I was in high school, whenever I was in college, the fact that I was an introvert kind of prevented me from joining some of these organizations in which could have excelled my dating life, looking at it back in hindsight, right? The fact that I was an introvert meant that I didn't necessarily put myself out there to make a lot of meaningful connections, and especially with women. I would have time frames where it would be obvious that women were into me because just the way I looked or whatever, but because I was introverted and I didn't know how to necessarily make that connection through speaking, and because of that, I guess I lacked confidence, that's why it was hard for me to actually make that connection. But nowadays, in 2023 and beyond, I think the world has evolved for introverts to actually excel in dating. And that leads into my first strategy of what you gotta do is have an online strategy. I call myself the digital Romeo, and that's because I leverage the fact of having an online or social media strategy in order to acquire women, and I've mastered it, guys. So with that being said, as an introvert, if you aren't using social media to your max advantage, literally, what are you doing? Right? I understand an extrovert saying, oh, I prefer to meet women in person, I go out to the clubs, bars, etc. But us introverts, we don't want to do that, right? So with that being said, you need to fix your presentation to the max fullest and have some sort of social media strategy to where you're consistently presenting yourself online, then from there attracting leads, especially if you have no in real life strategy at all. Maybe you're a guy who goes to work, goes to school, goes home, repeats it all over. You really don't enjoy going out, or maybe you don't have the network of friends to go out consistently, and you're definitely not going out by yourself. That means you need to leverage fully social media to its max capabilities. Now, another thing that introverts have to do is actually get the confidence of actually presenting yourself online, and that can be another hurdle in itself because that can be scary, right? Also, as an introvert, I personally do not like attention on myself. Funny enough, I do social media, people are watching me, thousands, millions of people have seen my face and hear me talk. But when it comes to like, especially in real life, I don't like a lot of attention on myself. It personally makes me uncomfortable. So I feel like social media kind of allows a barrier between that. And even though you're posting yourself, right, which you gotta have the confidence to do that, you really don't see all the eyeballs on you. So with that being said, leverage all the dating apps to your advantage. Tinder, Hinge, Bumble. You guys should also have some sort of Instagram strategy in place too in order to attract more women, because that's where the majority of your leads are gonna come from. And not only introverts too, but extroverts. Most people in general, just despite whether or not you're introvert or extrovert, are meeting people online. So if you don't have some sort of online presence, you are severely doing yourself a disservice. Now, as an introvert, that doesn't mean that you can't have friends. And I realized the next tip, and I've implemented this in my own life too, is to find extroverted friends. They will make your life and dating life a lot easier. And here's the reason why. I've noticed when I'm with my extroverted friends, sometimes I don't have to do any of the work, right? They're just social people. They make the connections for me. And through them, that's when I'm able to actually, meet her or meet this person, whether it be guy or female, right? You can go in networking purposes too. But from a dating perspective, having extroverted friends to go out with who can make those connections for you is a literal game changer. And plus, not to mention, as an introverted person, if you're friends with somebody who's more social, more extroverted, that is a good sort of yin-yang energy. And those types of friendships tend to work a lot of the time because they're synergetic, right? And so whenever you go out, you'll have one friend who's talking to girls or a guy who's not afraid to make their approach. And then from there, you can just wingman. Or sometimes another extroverted guy, maybe he's a really social person, he has a big network, and then through him, you can actually leverage his network, which also may include female. So whenever you're kind of associating and realizing your friend group, you might want to point out the more extroverted or more social person to actually do things more in real life with. Whenever you go out, they're going to make your life a lot easier, because there's nothing worse than going out with a whole bunch of introverted people who are just like you. Trust me, I've done that before too. If you're with a group of guys and they're all introverted, then whenever you go out to clubs, bars, whatever, you're just gonna be the dudes kind of standing at the corner, just kind of talking amongst yourselves, not looking like you're having a great time. And I realized the most I've pulled from like clubs, bars, wherever, or even just going out to dinner or whatever, I'm always with some sort of extroverted person to where they can almost draw the attention to us or maybe make that connection for us. And then from there, that can be leveraged. Are you tired of getting on dating apps and not getting the results that you want, the quality of women that you want, or maybe even the quantity of women that you want? You're tired of getting flaked on, ghosted, just overall disregarded. You want to be a man of value, increase your sex appeal, increase your finances, and increase your value to the marketplace. Then I'm gonna need you to apply for my Digital Romeo Mentorship. This is a 12-week mentorship where I'll take you through the exact processes that I did in my own personal life to increase my looks, to increase my sex appeal, and to learn what it really takes to master online dating so that you can then translate that into more success. Not only that, but I'll teach you how to build your status on online media platforms so that you can also leverage that for more dating success and financial success. We don't work for everybody, but you may be a good fit. If so, click the link down below to apply to the 12-week mentorship, and I'll see you soon. Back to the video. Number 3, as an introvert, you need to be the bait king. You need to learn how to really attract women without even opening your mouth. You do this through your style, through your grooming, through your face, through all the means and things that you can think about that can bait women into actually either approaching you first, talking to you first, sending you a message first, etc. It goes both ways, right? What I've tend to realize through working with guys in my Digital Romeo Mentorship is that the extroverted guys, they have no problem, right, making that connection as we talked about before, and they're more of that chase mentality, right? Those guys tend to go after what they want because they've done that their whole life. But the more introverted guys, maybe the guys who work in tech, maybe the guys who have some sort of remote job, they really don't speak to a lot of people each day, you have to be the bait king. Whenever you go out, you have to really focus on presenting your best self so that you attract more women in your life without even speaking if you don't have to. And I've done a video on choosing signals, how to really leverage that, so definitely be sure to watch that video, because as an introvert, you need to really be primed on getting choosing signals, and then from there you gotta act on it too. You can't just put yourself out there, bait, look at them, and then just keep walking away, or maybe girls sending you messages and you not actually act on it. That's not gonna do you any good either. You need to focus on actually acting on those choosing signals and just overall presenting your best self wherever you go, because overall that's how you're going to attract more women into your life without having to do much work. Last thing you got to do, guys, is get out of your comfort zone. What I've noticed about introverts too is that usually they're just very comfortable. They don't like going out and being risky. They're very risk adverse. They have a set routine, very comfortable, and getting outside of their little circle or comfort zone can be obviously uncomfortable. So what you have to do is really focus on your why. Why do you really want to do this? Why do you really want to improve your dating life? Why do you really want to improve your social charisma and your confidence? And then from there, focus on doing daily tasks and habits that will get you out of your comfort zone. That daily task or habit can be as simple as saying hello to somebody every time you go out, or complimenting somebody, whether it be man or woman, on the garment or something that they're wearing. These little tasks will overall help improve your confidence, and because of that, get you out of your comfort zone, which can lead to bigger and bigger things. And before you know it, some people change. Some people start out as introvert, scared to speak to people, really enjoy being by themselves, don't speak much, maybe very reserved. But over time, through these little challenges, through these little actions and tasks that got them out of their comfort zone, they're now able to almost come off like an extrovert, though on the inside, they're still truly an introvert. But they're able to play the game and kind of showcase confidence and charisma when needed. I feel like that's the best place to be. Whenever on the inside you're an introvert, but the outside people don't know that. They can't really tell. Like they see your introverted sides, but also they see that you can be confident, you're a bit charismatic, you're good with women, and that's from you consistently putting yourself out of your comfort zone. And that includes an online strategy too. Getting out of your comfort zone could be just as simple as posting a picture on your Instagram, because a lot of introverts like to be this mysterious guy on Instagram who doesn't post anything, has one post, and really doesn't put himself out there. So focus on the little tasks and habits that will put you outside of your comfort zone, plus all the other tips I mentioned in this video, and you will see a big increase in your dating life if you actually take action. Thank you guys for watching. Subscribe, like for more dating advice and tips just like this. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace.